We want to increase trapping opportunities, that's great. But what we have to remember is predators can focus on turkeys when they can be seen and when they can be, and then when they can be smelled. So they can be seen if the habitat's not good, and they can be smelled when when the hens are completely soaked, or when the poults are screaming bloody murder because they're cold and wet and the hen has brood. So the predators are more successful, in terrible weather conditions and in poor habitat. And so really we have to keep an idea of keeping that umbrella, which is the habitat, to support the turkeys. And but in the meantime, we can also help turkeys out by trying to maintain healthy predator populations. Well, how do you do that? Managing the habitat, because we know that people aren't trapping and hunting predators as much as they used to.
Thank you. I wasn't trying to put you on the spot. I just had a couple of questions there.
Yeah. So, but predation rates have not increased during the 5 years that we had transmitter data. Predation rates were low.
Commissioner Daly?
I don't know, these guys, I wish somebody would kick them out. You guys are uniforms, get rid of this, so one of the things that, it relates to the question that Commissioner Huber asked, a lot of what we see, we worry about the spring, the wet year, what's that do for, getting spring production and that thing. But yet we'd always set our seasons, before we really kind of know that, before going into the fall season. So, like, I don't know why we couldn't, and that's why I'm throwing it out here. Couldn't set like the 1 week season in the fall that is going to pretty much apply across the board. And then based on what we see in our sightings during the summer and the success of the broods, we could then say on whatever September 30th, we're going to announce any additional season lengths by WMU, so that we're not locked into that January setting of seasons and bag limits. Now, do you think that would be a helpful thing in managing our turkey population?
Yes, and you had mentioned that earlier, and we did have some emails going back and forth, and I had mentioned earlier, well, July 30th, I didn't have data by, but by the end of September, now that we're going into a different data management system for our game warding surveys, summer sighting surveys, I think we might be able to have the summer sighting data analyzed by the end of September, as well as the recruitment. The summer sighting data gives you not only the trend, the population trend, but it also gives you your recruitment data. And then, and if I know what the mask supply is by then, I should know the mask supply by then. So yes, that would be much more progressive, and that setting the fall season a year in advance, a year and a half in advance. Well, I'd say not a year, but yeah, over a half year in advance was always very difficult to. And so we always had to be way more conservative. But that certainly would really help simplify, the fall season setting, as well as just be able to work with hunters more, because they can, people are used to immediate gratification.
Right.
And so, yeah, we could say, okay, this year we have an excess. We have a surplus population, so yeah, we can harvest more. So that would be good, and it's probably a good timing right now because we're still developing our structured decision protocol for fall season setting. Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Any other questions? Thank you, very good.
All right, thank you, Tim.
Anything else? There's nothing else on the agenda today, so we'll be dismissed until tomorrow at 8:30. The Pennsylvania Game Commission to order, September 25th, 2018. I'm going to ask everyone to please rise, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then if you would just remain standing. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On Friday, September 21st, Dot Durr, who served as the Director of Administrative Services, passed away after a 14-week valiant fight with cancer. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Dot's family during this difficult time, and I would ask that you please join me now for a moment of silence to honor Dot. Thank you. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Commissioner Layton.
Present.
Commissioner Hoover.
Present.
Commissioner Daly.
Present.
Commissioner Fox. Present. Commissioner Metrick. Here. Commissioner Frederick. Here. Commissioner Foradora. Here. Commissioner Knick, myself here. All present.
At this time, can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting held July 31st, 2018?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Secretary?
Roll call. Mr. Layton. Or, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes taken. 8-0.
Thank you. The first item to come before the Commission today comes from the Bureau of Wildlife Management. It concerns a proposed rulemaking to amend 58 PA Code sections 133.21 and 133.41. The Game Commission has a fiduciary duty to manage our wildlife and their habitat for present and future generations. With this trust comes tough decisions. Enhanced protection from the listing of these species is the right decision for Pennsylvania's wildlife and the public we serve. Listing engages the PGC in decisions that help avoid, minimize, or mitigate impacts compounded by the primary causes of decline. The endangered/threatened classification recognizes the inherent value of each surviving member of the species. The Commission is proposing to amend sections 133.21 and 133.41 to adjust the Commission's threatened and endangered species list for the following species: peregrine falcon, upgraded from endangered to threatened, which reflects the steady statewide population recovery as specified in the board-approved peregrine falcon management plan. The recovery metrics for upgrading the species status to threatened have been achieved. Pigeon plover, upgrading from extirpated to endangered, recognizes the return of a breeding bird to Pennsylvania and follows the regulatory process in section 133.4. We celebrate the return of a native bird species to our state after more than 60 years' absence, in which pairs have successfully nested at Presque Isle State Park in 2017 and 2018, with reasonable expectation that they will return in the future. Presque Isle is the only regular location in which the species occurs in Pennsylvania. Red knot. Red knot subspecies rufa was classified as federally threatened in 2014, with Pennsylvania listed in the historic migratory range. It was designated a species of greatest conservation need in the Pennsylvania Wildlife Action Plan because it is a rare migrant found only at Presque Isle State Park and Conejola Flats. Due to its federally protected status and because the population is highly vulnerable to further declines, as shown by the Game Commission and Fish and Boat Commission in 2015. Averting adverse impacts to the species during migration contributes to the range-wide conservation of this species. State listing follows Title 58 in response to federal listing in Section 133.4. Bats. All hibernating bat species are species of greatest conservation need in the Pennsylvania Wildlife Action Plan due to their catastrophic declines caused by white nose syndrome. State listing provides the best tool to protect the remaining maternity sites in hibernaculate to thwart further declines and hopefully prevent federal listing through the environmental review process. Tricolored bat was recently petitioned to be protected under the U.S. Endangered Species Act with a 90 finding of warranted. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service will evaluate all information as part of the status review process. State listing of the northern long-eared bat follows federal listing in 2016 by regulation. Declines in the little brown bat and tricolored bat are more severe in Pennsylvania than that of the long-eared bat, and therefore call for state listing. Protection of the few remaining populations of these bats is critical to their potential recovery. State listing triggers protections through environmental review and proactive measures to encourage recovery. Only recent occurrence sites will be regulated. The text of this is shown on pages 3 through 4 of your agenda.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any comment? I just want to say that, you know, when you start to list the species, it's always a concern. But, you know, we hear Greg Turner talking about the decline of the bat population. It's not just in Pennsylvania, but all across the Northeast. And it's a huge concern. So it's one of those things that I know none of us really enjoy doing, but it's a necessary step to try to protect the bat population, and I would encourage everyone to vote in favor of this. Any other comment? Mr. Secretary, will you call the roll or call the vote?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 8-0.
The next item is on page 5 of your agenda. It's from the Bureau of Wildlife Protection and concerns adopted rulemaking to amend 58 PA Code sections 147.901 through 147.905 and create 58 PA Code sections 147.903.1 and 147.904.1 to enhance and expand the scope of the guide permit program. These amendments will expand the scope of this program to cover all commercial guiding activities on state game lands and all commercial and non-commercial guiding activities for elk on all other lands and waters. This effort is intended to provide greater legitimacy to the holders of guiding permits within the Commonwealth by establishing minimum standards for the required knowledge base required to be a guide, including basic biology and identification of applicable game and wildlife species, methods of safe and ethical use of firearms, traps, and other devices, applicable federal and state laws concerning hunting and trapping, land navigation, first aid, and CPR skills. The text is shown on pages 6 through 9 of your agenda.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. President, for the purposes of discussion, I will second the motion.
We have a first and a second. Any comment?
Mr. President, I'd like to discuss for a second the way that the special guiding permit is set up and the use of the non-commercial guiding permit requirement. We've heard from the public, we've had discussions amongst ourselves and individuals about requiring a son or a daughter or an uncle or a friend being required to obtain a non-commercial guiding license to accompany or participate in the hunt. That being said, I'd like to table this motion until we get the opportunity to go over it and take some of these requirements and correct them and go on.
Do we have any other discussion?
I second Commissioner Hoover's comments. I agree.
So we need that in the form of a motion.
I'll make a motion that we table this.
And I'll second it.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor to table this regulation to a further time. We call the vote.
All in favor of tabling it?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 8-0.
The next item before the Commission is on page 10 of your agenda to create 58 PA Code section 133.7 and amend 58 PA Code section 137.2 relating to release of animals to add the Hungarian partridge to the list of species that may be lawfully released on public or private lands for dog training or hunting purposes without first securing a permit. The Commission has also proposed to create section 133.7 relating to Hungarian partridge to to reclassify the Hungarian partridge as a wild bird and not a game bird in an effort to treat this species in a similar manner to the chucker partridge. The text is shown on page 11 of your agenda.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any comment? Mr. Secretary, call vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 8-0.
And the next item before the Commission is on page 12 of your agenda to amend 58 PA Code Section 147.322 to provide greater clarity of what circumstances will satisfy the public hunting requirement. The Commission specifically intends with this action to reject hunting opportunity that is afforded to an individual or class of individuals solely by virtue of their public employment as satisfying the public hunting requirement. This action will improve the use and prominence of public hunting as the primary method of wildlife resource management without unduly restricting the purpose and ultimate goals of the Deer Control Permit Program. This action will formalize into the Deer Control Permit regulations the current policy being used to evaluate and approve deer control permit applications. The text is shown on pages 13 and 14 of your agenda.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any comment?
Yes, Mr. President. I'd like to just mention that this has come around over the past couple of years as municipalities in the urban environment start to have to use control permits to lower the deer herd. This has been happening for probably the last 10 years or so in the southeast region. One of the problems that we've seen is that as we move forward with this, the hunter becomes less involved in the situation, and the targeted shooter or the police become the primary source of removal. What we're doing here today is making sure that we keep the hunter at the forefront of the program, so that they have the opportunity first to get in there and remove the deer to help each municipality.
Thank you. Any other comment? Mr. Secretary, call the vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 8-0.
The next item before the Commission shows up on page 15 of your agenda. It concerns proposed rulemaking to amend 58 PA Code, Section 135.103. This is a relatively minor, yet worthy, issue that will benefit a small number of disabled veteran hunters. Currently, regulations allow for special disabled veteran goose hunts at both the Pymatuning and Middle Creek wildlife management areas. Section 135.103 currently identifies those eligible to participate in these special hunts as persons holding a resident disabled veteran's license. When an eligible disabled veteran hunter reaches age 65 and purchases his or her senior lifetime license of either the regular or combination class, he or she becomes ineligible to participate in the special disabled veteran hunt because they possess the wrong base license. This can easily be corrected through a minor regulatory change. That text is shown on page 15 of your agenda.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any conversation, comments?
As this says, presently, this is not a huge number of people that will be impacted, but we have had people in the Northwest region that would like to hunt at Pymatuning for the veteran goose hunts, and because they spent money on that senior lifetime license, weren't able to. This corrects it.
Were there any others? Mr. Secretary, would you call the vote?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 0.
The next item appears on page 16 of your agenda to amend 58 PA Code sections 147.802 through 147.804. Currently, regulations provide for a mentor program for youth defined as an individual over the age of 12 and adults defined as an individual over the age of 18. There is currently no provision in the regulations for mentoring individuals between the ages of 12 and 16. This proposal would expand the Mentored Youth Program to allow individuals between the ages of 12 and 16 to be eligible, thereby allowing them to participate in hunting without taking hunter-trapper education or purchasing a hunting license. The Mentored Youth Program has been a very successful mechanism for introducing potential hunters to the sport. A recent survey showed that individuals who participate in the Mentored Youth Program were more likely to purchase hunting licenses in the future compared to individuals who had not participated in the program. Expanding upon the program would allow individuals between the ages of 12 and 16 to participate. It would allow the agency to recruit non-traditional potential hunters who did not have access to someone who could take them hunting on a consistent basis or shepherd them through hunter-trapper education, but yet have developed an interest in hunting and would like to participate before making the commitments necessary to become a licensed buyer. The Commission is proposing to amend sections 147.802 through 147.804 to 1. Expand the Mentored Youth Program to include youth up to 16 years of age. 2. Expand the Mentored Adult Program to include persons 17 years of age or older. 3. Limit participation in the Mentored Junior and Mentored Adult Program to 3 years total. And 4. Set Mentored Youth Junior permit fees at $5 for resident applicants and $40 for non-resident applicants, plus any applicable transactional and issuing agent fees. The text is shown on pages 16 through 18 of your agenda.
Do we have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any comment?
Mr. President, I'd just like to clarify one thing or get a clarification. Currently, we have a mentored youth program that they're allowed to participate in. Do the 3 years that they participate in the mentored youth program, do they count towards the 3 years of the mentored junior program?
That would be illegal. Yes, they do.
So you would only actually get to use the mentored program for 3 years. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
I have a question. The way it's written, it says between the ages of 12 and 16. It sounded almost to me like it's excluding age 16. I mean, it may be very trite, but I think it could be a little confusing. I think it should say something like up to including age 16. Just make sure everybody understands that.
That's for the Mentored Youth Program, right, versus the adult.
Well, and let's look in the actual. Okay, so the text, if you look on page 17, under eligibility, it says mentored youth hunting permits are available to youth applicants under 12 years of age or 12 years of age or older, but under 17 years of age. So it does include there the 16-year-olds. Thank you. Any other comments? Any other questions? Mr. Secretary, call vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 8-0. Unanimous.
The next item before the Commission is on page 19 of your agenda from the Bureau of Wildlife Habitat Management concerning real estate and a donation contract number L3734, state game land number 261 in Bedford County. James F. Swope and Carl P. Shoemaker are offering to donate a right-of-way across their property for access to the state game land number 261, as shown on Exhibit Red 1 on page 20 of your agenda. Swope and Shoemaker own property located in Broad Top Township, Bedford County, adjacent to state game land number 261. Swope and Shoemaker are willing to convey a 40-foot wide right-of-way approximately 300 feet in length along their southwest boundary line. Swope and Shoemaker have reserved the right to use the right-of-way, which the Commission will use for administrative purposes only. No public access will be provided. Access to the right-of-way will extend from State Route 915 to the state game land number 261 boundary.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any comment?
Mr. President, if I just may add as a point of clarification,
Please.
the water course that runs through here is significantly impaired, and this access road will give us the opportunity to improve that water quality by putting in several passive water treatment systems in there. So that, that is the reason that right-of-way is going in. It's the most ideal location to put the bridge that we will be able to get into that passive system and ultimately improve the water quality for that entire drainage.
And I guess one of the questions was, it looks like there's a road that runs along the bottom of the game lands.
Correct.
So what's the necessary evil for the right-of-way?
Well, Right, and the value in the right-of-way where it is, and we've had our engineers and regional staff go out to that location because of the terrain, because of the roadways involved. This was the ideal location to go in and be able to go into that treatment system.
Very good.
So even though it looks like there's plenty of access along there, it's not ideal access.
Great, thanks. I appreciate that. Any other questions, comments? Mr. Secretary, call the vote, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Unanimous, 8-0.
And the next item is on page 21 of your agenda, contract number 3735, state game land number 264 in Dauphin County. Ladnar Inc. is offering to donate 0.36 more or less acres of land in Wickinesco Township, Dauphin County, and interior on state game land number 264 as shown on exhibit red 2 on page 22 of your agenda. The property is forested with mixed northern hardwoods. Access is through existing state game land number 264.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
How about a second?
Second.
Any comments?
Yeah, just one. Pete, congratulations for closing that little indenture. Those are always good. Thank you.
It certainly is. It's an objective that we've got in the strategic plan. Anytime we can fill out one of those, we try to do that.
Any other comments? Mr. Secretary, call the vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. 8-0. Unanimous. The next item before the commission is on page 23 of your agenda. It concerns oil, gas, and minerals and a non-surface use oil and gas cooperative agreement, tract 117A-18, state game land number 117 in Washington County. Range Resources Appalachia LLC, or Range, requested the commission offer its oil and gas ownership under a 354.02 more or less surface acre, or 352.16 more or less net oil and gas acres, portion of state game land number 117 for oil and gas development. The proposed tract is located in Hanover and Smith Townships, Washington County, as shown on exhibit OGM 1 on page 24 of your agenda. Range has a strong privately owned oil and gas leasehold position in and around the majority of state game land number 117. Range has also initiated unconventional well drilling and development programs in the vicinity of the proposed tract and has the ability to unitize the Commission's oil and gas reserve by horizontal drilling with no surface disturbance to the proposed state game lands tract. The staff has negotiated the terms of the proposed agreement with Range in an effort to safeguard the prudent development of the Commission's oil and gas reserve and simultaneously protect the wildlife resources and recreational use of state game land number 117. The terms of the agreement are a 5-year paid-up non-surface use oil and gas agreement, a $3,500 per acre bonus payment, and 20% royalty for all oil and gas and other liquids or condensates produced and sold in the proposed tract, which are owned by the Commission. The bonus payment of $1,232,560 may be deposited into the game fund or into an interest-bearing escrow account for the future purchase of wildlife habitats, lands, or other uses incidental to hunting, partaking in wildlife resource management. Future rentals and royalties owed to the Game Commission shall be deposited directly into the game fund. Oil and gas development will be regulated by the Commonwealth's oil and gas regulations and the Commission's standard non-surface use oil and gas cooperative agreement.
Do we have a motion to accept?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any comment?
I have a question. Pete, is that the royalty percentage, is that at the wellhead?
Well, that, not quite. There are some other details involved there, and I honestly have to defer to our legal counsel offline on that, but there are some technical issues that we've come across just recently that's not quite the answer to that. It would be at the wellhead. There are some deductions, some other things that fall into play there, so not quite at the wellhead.
Do you have any idea what the net royalty might be?
At this point, no, I do not offhand.
It wouldn't be all the way down to the state minimum of 12.
No, I would suspect not. I would
Okay.
suspect absolutely not.
Yeah.
So Pete, looking at this 3,500 per acre, and there's no mention of $100. Do multiple strata here, is that true?
That's correct. I mean, in certain places, they can go to certain depths, in other places, because of the the type of fracking that they're doing, the type of gas that they're going after, they've been given a little bit more latitude in where they can actually go.
Okay, thanks.
Any other comments? Mr. Secretary, call the vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 0, unanimous.
And the next item appears on page 25 of your agenda, a non-surface use oil and gas cooperative agreement with the Hillman Tract, formerly State Game Land Number 117 in Washington County. Range Resources Appalachia LLC, or Range, requested the commission offer its oil and gas ownership under a 607 more or less acre tract of oil and gas in which the commission owns the oil and gas rights but does not own the surface. The proposed tract is located in Hanover and Smith Townships, Washington County, as shown on Exhibit OGM 2 on page 26 of your agenda. Range has a strong privately owned oil and gas leasehold position in and around the majority of State Game Land Number 117. Range has also initiated unconventional well drilling and development programs in the vicinity of the proposed tract and has the ability to unitize the Commission's oil and gas reserve by horizontal drilling with no surface disturbance to the current owners. The staff has negotiated the terms of the proposed agreement with Range in an effort to safeguard the prudent development of the Commission's oil and gas reserve. The terms of the agreement are a 5-year paid-up non-surface use oil and gas agreement, a $3,500 per acre bonus payment, and 20% royalty for all oil and gas and other liquids or condensates produced and sold from the proposed tract, which are owned by the Commission. The bonus payment of $2,124,500 may be deposited into the game fund or into an interest-bearing escrow account for the future purchase of wildlife habitats, lands, or other uses incidental to hunting, fur taking, and wildlife resource management. Future rentals and royalties owed to the Commission shall be directly deposited into the game fund. Oil and gas development will be regulated by the Commonwealth's oil and gas regulations and the Commission's standard non-surface use oil and gas cooperative agreement.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any comment?
Same question. I assume that the answer is the same.
The answer would be the same.
Is that something that surprised you guys, or, I mean, you seem to be caught off guard a little bit. Is it something that came to your attention after the...
Well, I think we've been looking into that, and I think because of some of the ongoing potential litigation that is occurring, I don't really want to specify anymore at this point in time.
Gotcha, okay.
We can talk a little bit offline.
That's fine, that's fine. Thank you, Pete.
Sure. I just have one comment. I really got to give credit to our predecessors who had the foresight to, maintain ownership of the oil and gas rights under this tract. And that's 600 acres that, in many cases we would have given away the surface, the subsurface, and in this case we actually retained it many years ago. So I got to give kudos to those folks who probably never even thought there was going to be something like Marcellus Shale gas development when they had originally done this.
I'd like to add a little bit to that. This tract is in my home county, and if you notice, it's called the Hillman Tract. And for those of you who don't know, our good friend John Oliver, the former secretary of DCNR and a longtime conservationist, his mother was a Hillman. So his family, his father, is who saw to it that all these acres came to the Commission to be protected in perpetuity for wildlife conservation, and had the foresight to not only convey the surface but all the mineral rights. So just point of knowledge, and we're very appreciative.
Any other comments? Mr. Secretary, call the vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 8-0, unanimous.
Mr. President, that concludes the formal agenda.
Is there any other new business?
Mr. Secretary, under new business, I'd like to make a motion to approve the, if it's in its complete order, the Pennsylvania Wild Turkey Management Plan for 2018 to 2027.
So we have a motion to accept the management plan for the wild turkey. Is there a second?
So moved, second.
Any comments?
I think it was job well done.
Very good, Mr. Secretary, will you call the roll?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Any other new business? So the next working group meeting will be held in Harrisburg on December 17th, 2018. The next commission meeting will be held January 27th through the 29th, 2019 in Harrisburg. We can hold a press conference immediately after this. I don't believe there's a need for an executive session at this point, so the meeting is adjourned.